and welcome to Other Cider Studios. I'm your keeper this evening, Ambrose, she, they, and tonight we have a special lore episode just for you. We'll be doing a quick jump into the past of the Dollmaker interviews with the help of Wes Franks. Care to take it away?
Hi, I'm Wes Franks. My pronouns are they, he. I am playing Secret Agent Carlisle Haynes. Carlisle Haynes is a secret agent that works for the Arcane Corps that essentially does interviews, talks to different entities or investigates different items and classifies them, kind of gets like a general understanding of what they are. Um, he is a bit of a weird guy, but not too weird because he also tries to maintain a proper work-life balance. He is happily married to an artist by the name of Hernan, and they both have a daughter by the name of Emerald. But yeah, I think you will learn a little bit more about my character that is using the mundane playbook here soon.
Very soon, immediately even. Without further ado, let's get started. Content warning. This is a series that focuses on the following elements: minor body horror, illusions and altered realities, memory manipulation, creepy atmosphere, death, and or potential descriptive scenes of death, not gory, just unsettling. Please take care of yourself if these, oh, also cancer. Please take care of yourself if these elements and how they may be portrayed make you uncomfy. You can also catch the VOD later, or you can check it out on YouTube. And now, without further ado, let's get started. Agent, you come to the sound of calming ambient electronic tones in your ear. The soft pressure of foam from your headphones register next as your eyes open and you find yourself in an elevator. The metal and fake wood paneling of the small space you find yourself in, and the low yellow glow of the light above you fills your vision next. Your senses seem to be fading in slowly one at a time, and for the briefest of moments, there is a sense of panic. You try to remember the last few moments of time, but then the feeling is immediately replaced with a reminding thought. You're in an entity containment center run by the Arcane Corps. Each one of these are protected by powerful memory magic, a form of security that ensures that the location cannot be divulged to outside forces, on purpose or otherwise. As the realization calms you, and as that song starts to peter out from your Walkman that you're playing, because you needed to calm down for a little bit, coming into a situation you kind of are aware of now, and it's transitioning into the next song, you hear a muffled, faint voice call your name next to you. And then you also remember that you're not the only one here in the elevator. Carlisle,
What was that?
we're almost there. Are you okay? Took a while for you to fade in there.
Yeah, I was focused on something else. Uh, you okay?
I'm okay. You look to your right and up. There is a person there that stands at about 6'4", 6'5", super tall. Um, black, jet black hair, long, pulled into a tight braid down his back, like to the between his shoulder blades. He's dressed in kind of like dark tactical gear. So giving the vibe of like security or some form of possibly the Slayer branch as well. Um, with deep tan skin, hazel eyes. And the thing that you notice about them before you got here and before the blacking out, before you started further descent, is that they have um, symmetrical scars all over their face and neck. Anything that you see exposed skin. Um, and he's just like regarding you, essentially.
Yeah, I just had a bit of a rough morning, but that's to be expected. Um, Are you providing security today?
Yes. You had made a note that there was some stuff that happened last time, and to be fair, you were
Yeah,
supposed to be further briefed properly by somebody, so that shouldn't have happened the way it did.
that's okay. Yeah, no, that makes tons of sense. Thank you for being here. Agent Haynes,
Uh,
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. My name is Theo.
Theo.
Mhm.
Okay. Nice to meet you. Yeah, this seems to be a transcendent class
Mhm.
monster.
Yes, the Dollmaker.
Uh
TCS-03. What?
Eldritch in nature
Mhm.
seems to be. Or do you should there be more of you?
There's two other security details downstairs. There's going to be a few other outside of the containment as well. But I'll be
Good.
in the room with you.
All right. Okay. Well, we don't know the threat level of the entity, but
Really?
we should expect that it should probably be fatal
Fatal.
with a name like Dollmaker.
Right. With a name like Dollmaker. But are you the first interviewer for that?
It's it's strange because we've had, from what I can tell from the files are incomplete, they're inconclusive. We've had this entity, but there was no real information about it. They, they, um, them.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
so it makes me think that maybe it was a processing error, maybe misfiled, or maybe somebody up top was scared.
Maybe. I can't imagine that being the case. I think the Dollmakers have been here well over 15, 20 years already. So it's kind of interesting to hear that there's been a guess classification of fatal, but I guess it became pressing now to finally classify them. And you weren't made aware that they were transcended at all, if I remember the note.
Not until the first meeting.
Interesting. All right. Well, hopefully it runs smoothly this time. You can get more information properly. You're not caught off
Question.
guard.
Question.
Yes. Yes.
You're a Slayer, right?
Yes.
Fuck.
What?
That just means that I'm going to have a very interesting day today because they didn't send hunters or, a peacekeeper.
uh, yeah, I mean, this is a containment center. That's if anyone breaks out, usually there's a less likely chance that a transcendent class would because of the safeguards, but slayers have to be on call or cleaners, but that's up for you.
Carlisle is just going to seem to like focus out for a little bit and grab a cassette recorder and just say, Slayers on the field. I seem to be the only seeker that is involved with this doll maker. Interesting enough that they didn't send a peacemaker. Might need to make a requisition for a request for a peacemaker because it seems that maybe this entity might want something. We'll have more info soon, and then we'll click it off, and then put it in the pocket.
Theo just stared at you the entire time while you're just like making this out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Raises an eyebrow. Right. Uh, Peacemakers would normally get involved if it was the first meeting. Asking for a thing, a place to stay, a promise not to hurt civilians in exchange for blank. This is a little different. But if you want a peacemaker called in, I can call somebody.
No, I should be fine. It's fine. I perfectly managed to take care of the Fisher King files from London, and I have also handled quite a few chupacabra sightings, things of that nature in the Southwest. So I think I can handle a Dollmaker.
If you feel like you can. The elevator slows to a halt. The doors open, and you are met with a bank of other elevators. Concrete is what you're seeing. And when you step out from where the bank of elevators are, and you make a right, you see immediately a long corridor of concrete as well. You see those polycarbonate cells. Each one is like baked into the wall, separated by other concrete. Large numbers painted for each one. These are the ones that are lower risk, but if let out, they will try to escape or do some damage. So those are the first things you see. Um, it's a long corridor that seems to stretch forever. Low lights on single cords illuminate the path, with brief periods of shadows in between as you're walking. And you ever so often glance over at these cells and you see wraiths, ghosts that like fade in and out of existence, like claw marks on the glass that barely penetrate because it's very reinforced in regards to that. You see an entity in the corner painted with blood or in red, standing in a corner away, long black hair. You note that it's noted as Bloody Mary question mark on the containment, and you're like, what? As you're continuing to walk, you see another entity that keeps on fading in and out of existence. There's a material figure, all red, pointed ears, moves super, super fast. You're not entirely sure what it is. It could be a demon. It could be like a vampire that is well aged, maybe. You're not entirely sure. And you keep noting those things as you're walking, and they're not even bothering to look at you, they're just minding their own business. And as you further get down this corridor, you go through a metal door that Theo opens for you. It seems heavy duty. To a separate section. It's not as long of a corridor. There's 5 separate metal doors when you enter here, and they're very well spaced out. You remember this place, specifically the third one, the middle one of the 5. That's where the Dollmaker is housed. That's where you remember going, and you do see 2 guards on either side of the door. You kind of remember there being guards last time, but just one, waiting for you to be received instead of the more prepared, ready to go situation here. Theo walks you to the door, and looks to you. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get this over with. I've got something to do after this.
Right. And he jerks his head. One of the guards opens the door again, heavy duty to allow it open, and you walk through first. It's very clinical, very white, and you see that glass enclosure from before. You don't see anything in it when you first enter the space, but you're not terribly worried in this time. As you enter, Theo enters after you before they close the door behind you both. And Theo goes silent, stands to the side of the door, arms crossed, and kind of dissociates and just is there to watch the room and not press too much. There's a chair and a desk there for you in the center. And that glass that's several feet away from you has glyphs written meticulously from top to bottom, left to right. And you don't see that smoke, that mist, those particles yet, as you get settled. But as you do, unless there's something you want to do.
Carlisle is wearing a button down, and like it looks like a librarian's vest, which is kind of like at this time period is kind of like the Seeker's kind of like what they when they're not wearing jackets or anything like that, full professional suits. Goes ahead and unbuttons it. Uh, it has brown hair, green eyes. Has a necklace that he keeps tucked under shirts and everything like that. Doesn't wear a tie. The Sony Walkman, like we described before,
Mm-hmm.
moves that around. Takes it completely off, so it's not around his neck. Spots a ashtray, picks it up and walks over to Theo and says, "We don't need this."
Did you just want me to hold it?
Hand it to somebody out there. I don't know.
He opens the door. Heavy. That clink is sounded
Mm-hmm.
as he like just puts his hand out, waits for someone to grab it, and then closes it. Anything
Less heavy
else?
objects. Less heavy objects in here, the better. Much easier to dodge a desk or a chair if something starts throwing something around than a stone
Have you
ashtray.
ever worked with a Slayer before, Mr. Haynes?
Once in Belize.
All right. There are at least 4 on this floor now, and I am in the room with you. I don't think you have to worry about heavy objects being thrown at you. And the Dollmaker doesn't use physical means to get to you.
Can't be too safe.
Totally understand. Proceed.
Goes and sits down, kind of looks annoyed at the Slayer that's standing in here almost without like looking towards Theo. And turns the tape recorder on. Goes, Dollmaker interview now, I reckon. Number 2, entity has not yet shown up or apparated within the containment unit. Might need to make some notes for IR readings as well as sonograms. Good morning.
There's a pause between you saying good morning and making your commentary. And then from the corners of the glass, you see those wisps that are first translucent and slowly gain form. And they turn into a black particle mist of shadow and smoke. And they start to condense and meet at the center. And it takes a while for this to happen, to build up, until you see a mass of just swirling black that's trying to make some form of a familiar humanoid form, but it's taking a little bit of time. Good morning.
Is everything okay?
What a question. Why would anything be okay?
Just want to make sure that your accommodations are spacious enough for you, and are you being treated well?
I am being treated as well as something like me can be. Political answer.
What would be the means for you to be treated the best, in your opinion? Within reason, of course, not leaving that box there.
No, that's what I was gonna say.
Sorry, but seeing as how classified you as transcendent, seems that it's in everybody's best interest, including your own, that we keep you here.
You see that form now start looking more humanoid. Obviously, there's no distinguishable features like eyes, facial expressions, or anything. It's just a black mass of arms, legs, and a head that shift ever so often. And it walks up to the glass. Those arms readjust to look like they're crossed over their chest. And you feel like it's regarding you.
Like what
Shouldn't
you
you
see?
get on with it?
Shouldn't I get on with it?
Do I like what I see? No.
You're taking a form, and no.
I have standards.
Standards. That's funny. It's very good. Look, this isn't going to be like our first meeting. And this isn't going to be how I'm sure you've had other interviews before with other agencies that may have gotten their hands on you or not.
No.
Other conversations.
Just this one. One interview. Didn't go too well.
Well, I'm hoping that we can make some progress today. Dollmaker. Why don't you tell me a bit about yourself? What's the first thing you remember? I understand that not all threats are born. Some are awoken or formulated. Some are even wished into existence. But what about you? What's the first thing you remember?
My family.
You have a family?
Had a family.
Not a family. Where did that family hail from?
Here. New York.
Greatest city in the world.
As they say.
As they say. Tell me a bit more about your family. Were you always
No.
amorphous?
No, I wasn't.
Interesting.
How about this? I don't feel comfortable just talking only about myself. So why don't we do something a little different? You answer a question for me. I'll answer a question for you.
Are you trying to bargain with me, Dollmaker?
No.
Seeing as this is your first interview or second interview with the Corps, I think it's important to let you know that there's a certain procedure. I will tell you certain things about myself, but it's within reason. I'm not going to divulge personal information that might be used against me in any way, shape, or form because it's against Corps policy. And I think you know that. And I think that's what you're trying to do. So let's be honest with each other. You're trying to learn a little bit about me so you can manipulate me into doing things for you. We're all on the level here. This is not my first rodeo.
You hear a weird sound, and it sounds grating and not fully together, and you realize it's laughing. Like a low chuckle, but so distorted and scratchy. It's gross. But then you hear, yeah, core policy. I'll ask what I can. If you don't mind, humor me.
Sure. I found out that you're from New York City. Just for note-taking purposes, where in New York City? There's a lot of boroughs and there's a lot of buildings.
Harlem.
Harlem. I hear it's on the upswing.
I wouldn't know.
All right, go ahead and ask your question.
You hail from Washington, D.C. Monaco, correct? FBI agent?
Did my friend behind me tell you that about me? Interesting that you would know that.
If you look to Theo and you turn, you're like, my
Mm-hmm.
friend. Theo just is looking kind of confused as well,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just lightly shakes his head.
Did you read my file, Dollmaker?
No. Do I look like I can read any files in here?
I mean, I'm sure we could send you a couple of books. There's a new Stephen King book out now that I think that you would really enjoy if that's something that you'd like to pass the time with. Of course, that is good behavior warranted. See how this interview goes.
You're funny.
I'm a conversationalist.
Mm.
And yes, I started with the FBI after college, and they noted my skills in conversation and my top marks in understanding and perception.
Okay. Can you roll weird for me?
I can. Oh boy.
First roll of the game.
That's double sixes. That's a 12.
Awesome. So you are probably because of your sensitive nature, uh, your ability to like be aware of your own condition in a situation like this, and you're hyper vigilant. You feel a weird skittering under the skin of your scalp, right over here. It feels like a vessel like might be
Mhm.
shifting, like kind of situation, like a starting of a headache maybe.
Mhm.
It's a little weird, but that's all you know.
Uh, I would like to investigate a mystery, please.
By all means, do that.
Excellent. Okay. And that's roll plus sharp, correct?
Correct.
Uh, Okay, that's a 9.
All right. So you got two options. You can either ask me any of the questions that is provided,
Mhm.
since you hold one, or you can ask me one general question.
Well, because of my move forensic divination, I also get what magic was done here as a
You're
free
correct.
question.
You're correct.
So let me go ahead and look over these questions real quick. Uh, okay. What was it going to do?
It already did it.
What
And
magic is being done here?
memory magic.
You're digging into my brain, Dollmaker.
Who, me? You do. You are a lot smarter than I gave you credit for.
My time in Quantico, I was noted for having clear signs of empathy overflowing, as my instructor said. I was able to read and get a clear impression of people's emotional states and their intentions. At first, they sent me to hostage negotiation, and well, that's when I was tapped.
Hmm. Good to know.
Good to know.
Next question of yours.
So you said that you were born in Harlem and you had a family, so that means that you've been from here. Who were you before the Dollmaker?
I was a doll maker. I made dolls custom designed for my clients, and a clockmaker. And I merged those two together to make unique automaton like dolls. They went for a pretty penny.
Interesting. And this is just a add-on to the question, just a, not another question, but just to expand upon that. Did this doll shop have a name?
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
That is a separate question.
𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑.
Nice try.
All right, Dollmaker, go ahead and ask your next question. You don't have to wiggle around in there.
But I do. You're good at reading people. So am I.
Well, it seems like we're just two peas in a pod, and now that we have that mutual recognition that we both have skills that we're good at, let's meet on even ground. I'm stuck in a box much like you are.
Next question. You're an audiophile. You take your family out to the park when your daughter is well enough. Beautiful music. What was the last musician you listened to with her?
With her?
Emerald.
Now, Dollmaker, that's not very fair. Remember, we said we were going to ask questions, not peer inside my brain.
That was a question. And you're prolonging the inevitable. Answer the question, or I don't answer anything at all.
Steve Winwood. She likes the drums.
I can hear them now.
Jump ahead. What's the inevitable?
The inevitable.
That I'm prolonging.
Did you really want me to answer that?
You and I both know that you're just going to be doing this back and forth, and you're going to start walking through the recesses of my mind like it's a shop in a shopping mall. And you're going to pick and choose things that you can use against me to somehow manipulate your way out of that cell.
Is that what you think I want?
I think you want to be out of here.
Eventually.
Eventually. I'll have you know, do you think my compatriot behind me is here to protect me?
Theo, does a quick dip. I would assume so.
Seems like I've got one up on you then, Dollmaker. Theo here is not to protect me. Theo is to make sure that you stay in that box by any means necessary, even if that means taking that fancy little sidearm on the holster, removing it, putting it to the back of my head, and then having a 45 ACP round entering the back of my skull where the cerebral cortex meets the top of the spine, and then out of the front of my face, splattering that beautiful glass container that you have. If there are any signs of that happening, then I'm done. Interview's over, and you probably get locked away in this box somewhere deep in the ground. And you'll never see Harlem again.
I will probably never be going back to Harlem. My family is no more. There's nothing to go back to. Bigger picture. There are other things that need to be done.
Which brings me back to my original question. What is the inevitable?
Inevitably, I will get out of here. It won't be today. It won't be tomorrow. It won't be a month from now. But soon. At least my sense of soon. I will be. And you will just be a notation in my file, Carlisle Haynes. Also, it's inevitable that your daughter will pass away.
We all die. That's the nature of humans. We have expiration dates.
And you're okay with that? Knowing that she's 8? You just
Carlisle shifts a little bit. She is, in fact, 8 years old.
Due to be 9, 2 months from now. It's touch and go, isn't it?
Emerald is very strong. We've been told month by month that it would be her last month. And she has proved time and time again that she's more than capable of prolonging the inevitable. So every month with her is a gift. And I see that I've answered your question, though you've yet to ask it.
That wasn't even my question, but thank you for the free answer. But since you're so generous, you're looking for a donor. Blood marrow transplant. Do you think you'll get that in the next month?
The hospital's doing the best they can. There's a lot happening outside. I don't know if you know that because you've been locked up in here.
Political answer.
No, I do not think that we will find a proper donor within the time frame that is given.
Thank you for your honesty.
Now I want your honesty.
You wanted to know about my shop in Harlem.
Yes, but that was a previous question.
Oh, there's a new one.
Yeah. But if you want to answer that one honestly, then go ahead and then I can ask my next one.
Absolutely. Sure, anything for you, Mr. Haynes. Opalescent eyes.
It's a good name.
I think so.
Going to write down on my notepad. I'm going to flip the notepad over, write on a different sheet. Opalescent eyes, Harlem. I'm going to rip it out, fold it, and I'm going to hand it back to Theo.
Theo looks to the paper, rolls their eyes, and then walks over, yoinks it, puts it in his thing. I think he would actually open the containment to like pass it on as well. Before closing it and going back to resting position of arms crossed and just looking bored. Are you done?
Sorry. Arcane core policy.
Right. Your actual question now?
How were you turned?
Turn.
You were a doll maker with a shop called Opalescent Eyes in Harlem. You had a family. And now you are a amorphous cloud with different particles wisping in and out, almost like stardust. So, what was it? Was it an interaction with something in the sewers? Did you go on a walk with your dog and touch something that fell from the sky? Did a magician turn you?
The
Enlighten me.
possibilities. No. I died. And I came back. And I kept dying. And I came back. Of my own methods. And I experimented with magic. Till there was no humanity left.
So you built yourself. You
Sure.
made yourself.
I'm a self-made man, yes.
Next question.
And the last one, for now, can't give it all away in one session. Or not. You think you'll be with him after your daughter dies?
Me and Hernan were together before Emerald. And I know there is a common misconception that the death of a child draws people apart due to excess emotions and not being able to understand why this could happen. Why would God do something like this? Is the common phrase that is uttered when this happens. But the thing that people don't realize about Hernan is that he has a very strong will. And he is very much in touch with his emotions. So yes, I do believe that we will be together, even after Emerald passes away.
That's so sweet. To think that.
This is not a question, Dollmaker, but this is free advice. I'm sure that you've been along much longer than I have in this world. I'm sure that you have learned so many things. It seems that you have modulated yourself. You took yourself and undid yourself and put yourself back together so many times that there's nothing left of you. There are people that are okay with their lots in life, even when they do not have excess.
Oh. Sure. When that grief hits you, it hits you. And you'll be seeing a very different tune.
And then I'll go to therapy. I will sit and I will process my feelings. I will categorize them, and then I will put them in their boxes so that I can better understand them. It's what people do. I would like to roll to investigate a mystery, please.
By all means, go off.
That is just a 6.
Oh,
5
okay.
plus 1. Yeah.
Okay, so you don't pick up anything. Did you want to, like, kind of tell me what you were looking for in terms of, like, question?
It was just a what is being concealed here was going to be my primary. I was shooting for just to get at least one what is being concealed here, but I'll go ahead and take my experience. It's okay.
Okay, yeah, take your experience. I'll give you just a minor thing versus like
Mm-hmm.
like the full answer. You felt those weird skirtings under the scalp a few times the last
Mm-hmm.
few questions that were exchanged, and you are able already to pick up memory magic is being used, digging in there, finding out more information about you. And he stated that he's not trying to escape, and that's not his goal.
Mm-hmm.
So you have those things just in your brain, like, so what are you trying to do? Kind of situation. What
Yeah.
is being concealed here?
Yeah.
But all you can do is probably ruminate on these things.
That's the big mystery
Yeah.
is if you're not trying to escape, then what is your ultimate goal?
Mm-hmm. You, uh, as the final question, Hamptons, you're like probably narrowing your eyes as like the chuckling is happening. The what are you on about? Um, and then the Dollmaker and those wisps just kind of fade out, separate out, and go back to their corners. It's a way for them to let you know pretty immediately that the interview is over.
The interview's over. I'm going to turn the cassette recorder off. I'm going to stow it in my pocket. I'm going to stand up, close the file, put my pen up,
Can
put
you
my vest.
roll weird for me?
Absolutely. That is a 8.
You got an 8. Okay. So you're prepping, you're packing your stuff for this interview. It's closed. You got what you can. You got a decent amount of stuff.
Hmm.
And then you hear something behind you in the room, and it echoes off of the wall, the concrete, the clinical look to it, the white. Sounds like a giggle, like a child's giggle. And you can hear the padding of tiny shoed feet run by. A memory pops up in your head immediately of a child running hide and seek and getting ready to find a space to hide. Do you look?
Fuck it. We ball.
You turn. Nothing's there. But it sounded very clear to you. Like, it sounded like a child running. And Theo sees you do this. You good?
Going to hold my finger up to my lips, point outside, gather my things, gently push the chair back under the table, the desk, and walk out.
Okay. And you do. He makes sure you go first, closes the door, looks at you with a raised eyebrow.
There's a number of times that Dollmaker, the transcendent entity, was manipulating my mind, searching for things to ask me about, uh, cataloging things. Towards the end, I experienced phenomena. I'm going to pull up my tape recorder. End of second session with Dollmaker. Experienced phenomena. Heard child laughter and the pad of bare feet running down a hallway, seemingly a game of hide and seek. Is this the Dollmaker trying to manipulate me with thoughts of my daughter? We'll assess further. Theo,
Yes.
can you do something for me?
Sure.
I don't want the Dollmaker to have an understanding that this is a power balance shift. I want us to be on equal ground the next time I speak with them. So can you go ahead and bombard the room with UV light periodically, let's say every 45 minutes. Actually, make it 42 minutes, then add 3, and then remove 7 at every time interval. I want it to be erratic. Then also do a silver spray within the chamber. I want to see what rattles this motherfucker, or at least annoy them.
Are you okay? I'm not talking about that. You're just like glares at you.
Yeah, like check it. Yeah, heart rate is elevated a little bit, but I'm slightly flustered. Was
Hmm.
not expecting there to be memory manipulation happening through that glass. Might need to think about certain warding.
Probably. Maybe see. It might need to be updated, if that's possible through the glass, even with that heavy duty amount of wording already. That's impressive and not in a great way.
It certainly is unsettling. Is there anything else you need from me?
No, I'm just going to walk you out of here, and you can either go wherever you need to go. Probably log your files.
I'll take you to my office here, and then you can go and do your slaying.
Is there a problem? Like he leans down
With you,
with Slayers.
I recognize Slayers as a necessary evil of the branch of Arcane Core. Sometimes things get out of hand, and problems need to be dealt with swiftly, without prejudice.
Hmm.
I am different from my cohorts, my compatriots of the Seekers. Many of my ilk believe that these all to be monsters, creatures that stalk the night, drinking blood or stealing children's dreams, eating sin, things of that nature. But they're more than that. You and I, in the cycle of life, before we were just tadpoles in a heated pond somewhere in Micro-Asia. Then we grew legs, and then we crawled across the landscape. We were eaten, we ate, and eventually now we are ordering bagels with schmear down the street, and we're cataloging these entities. They're just like us, Theo. They have wants, they have needs.
Theo's like rolling his eyes. Like, I am aware. I'm not human, by the way. I know what you're talking about.
Can I go ahead and roll would it be no, it wouldn't be read a bad situation. It would be investigate a mystery,
It would have been
please.
funny if it wasn't in bad situation.
Read a bad
Like,
situation with Theo.
like you
Smack my
just
bit.
you just mansplained to this guy.
Yeah, yeah,
So like, go off.
yeah, yeah. Sick. Okay. So that is an 11.
Okay.
And I do get an extra question. What magic was done here?
There is layers upon layers upon layers of glamour on this person.
Mm-hmm.
So like usually you're used to say one glamour. There's like five on this person.
Got it. Uh, okay. Uh, hold two. What sort of creature is it?
Did you want to tell me both, or you want me to answer that and then the next one?
Yeah. Answer that, and then I, depending on the next one. Yeah.
You see, those symmetrical scars are a little too symmetrical. Like if someone's like scarring themselves for whatever reason, whether it's like magical or cultural or anything like that, they're not this on point. You've seen this sort of thing in like pictures, books regarding angels before. Usually eyes. But this is a physical person in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something of potentially celestial, but you're not sure what that is.
Excellent. And my last question: what can hurt it?
Anything of a devil nature, so usually devil essence of some sort, injected into the veins for such for celestial entities would work. But it won't kill them; it will slow them down or paralyze them for a short time.
Good to know. That's just personally for Carlisle.
I know. That feels like a Carlisle thing to do. Like, to, like, oh, you're not human. Let me figure out everything I
Exactly
can.
what you are, and how it's the Batman thing.
It's the
It's the
Batman thing, yeah.
if we're in that room together, how am I going to be able to take you down if you get turned against me, essentially? Um,
Totally understand. So yeah, they have rolled their eyes. They're
yeah,
annoyed now because you're talking
yeah.
to them about this. Let me tell you
That nature
something.
of this.
Let me tell you something. Slayers are only bought in to protect or to eradicate a large situation, such as a whole town being taken over by vampires that mean to kill everybody there, or to protect your ass. And gives you a once over. You might think you know something, little man, but you know nothing. I'm gonna continue doing my job, but watch your mouth.
I've offended you.
No. You don't say.
I apologize. I dissect. That's my nature. That's why I was brought in.
Yes. And you'll be protected, always. That's what our job is. But don't get things twisted. And he walks ahead down that corridor. And I'm assuming you follow after.
Yeah.
You go through the process backwards. You gonna say something?
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
like
Just puts the headphones back on. Yeah.
and cool, like the calming sounds, the synthetic, ambient noises that you're used to flood in. Helps to calm, especially a little flustered. Also, just offended somebody that is not human.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea what they are, and you're walking down this corridor, reversing the process. And as you enter the elevators and it goes up, your memory wipes. And it stays into a mode of dark for a little bit, a black spot in your memory until you find yourself in a car, an SUV, passenger side. Theo's driving. And as you're coming to senses fading back in, the next song in your list in the Walkman, probably 2 songs now, 2 or 3 songs out, you feel a vibration on your hip. Your pager went off.
Thinking about grabbing dinner or something, Theo. Gonna have to grab my pager and check it.
Um, okay. Are you asking me to get food or what?
Just wanted to see. It's post work. Just wanted to get dinner afterwards.
There's a diner nearby. That's 24 hours. So,
Diner it is.
yeah. You're driving, he's like changing routes to go to this diner.
Mm-hmm.
You get when you bring up your
Check it.
pager, there's a message there. It's Hernan. And it says, going to the hospital. Emerald isn't doing well.
Belay that diner request, Theo. Can you drop me off at? And I give the hospital they're going to.
There's a pause. You're at a light. He kind of looks at you out of the corner of his eyes. Sure. Changes are out again. And you drive. It is time of day. It's about like, let's say it's like fall time. So it's about 6 or 7. But it is darker right now. Mm-hmm. And weather isn't too bad. 60s, 70s. Sweater weather, essentially. The drive is about, from here, 20 minutes. It's somewhere between Manhattan. You find yourself as you're realizing that you were in the lower half of Manhattan, so near the financial district. And you need to be in Queens. That's where this hospital is. So it's a 30-minute drive from where you are. Um, and it's a silent car ride. Uh,
I think there's a moment where Carlisle's looking at the window while Theo is driving and doesn't turn and look towards Theo, but goes, "Why do bad things happen to innocent people?"
I don't know. And it happens a lot, disproportionately, all the time.
Didn't ask your former employer that, I guess.
Did something happen?
Typically, when you go to the hospital, it's not for a good reason.
Don't be sassy. Just answer the question.
Emerald's being rushed. My daughter, Emerald, is being
I
rushed to the
gathered I
hospital.
was in that containment center with you, so
No chance on you being the more guardian type than the avenging type, right?
I'm not the avenging type, no.
Well, maybe you can send up a message to your former boss and something good can happen, though I know probably not.
I like how you assume a lot of things about things you don't understand. It like gives you a side eye.
I'll be sure to dig out a file on Celestials so I can get a better understanding of hierarchy. I'm sure they had you brief them on that when they brought you in.
I don't have any connection to the celestial plane. I never have. I was born and raised here. Another thing
So
you
you're
don't know
not
anything about.
so you're not under heavy intense glamour
I am.
and the markings on your skin
Our
are
eyes.
in reference to eyes,
Hmm.
but you were born here.
Yeah, I am physical, like it shows you. Most
Mm-hmm.
celestials aren't. They need a body to possess. This is my body.
So what happened with that?
Why should I tell you? He gives you a really tight smile, looking at you as like you pull into another break, like at a stoplight.
Let's just say, Theo, that maybe you won't see me for a long time. Say, see, standard arcane core policy, 90 to 120 days provided for grieving. Might as well learn as much about you as I can now, just in case. As a professional courtesy towards each other. I mean, you do know a lot more about me than I do you. You were present in the room when all that happened.
That's valid. First of all, in reference to grieving, there is a chance, always, that she will pull through. Dollmaker likes to hurt as often as they want like to. But you know it's true. So don't let that get to you. Secondly, I was born here to the to a human mother and a celestial parent. But that is under wraps for the sake of having a celestial with a physical form is somewhat of a hot commodity for a lot of magic users out there.
You are a big ticket item. That does explain your size.
My size.
Taller than average.
Yeah, this is all the minimum I can do, which is for glamour purposes.
Stick this much. Not as a negative, I assumed as much, just something that I was noting.
I am understanding that you like to just say things out loud, even if they come across as rude or oppressing or prying in general about people and their standing.
I found it better in my life and my experiences to let people know exactly what I'm thinking. No need to hide behind subterfuge or half truths, two facedness. It's not that I don't like you. It's just, to be completely honest, I have no assessment of you so far.
Besides how to kill me.
Indeed.
You're that type of person. And continues to drive. I would say, unless there's anything else you want to do, you got like 5 to 10 minutes.
It. I think that's
But
a good, yeah.
like there's like a lull. It's not as awkward of a car ride anymore. Theo in the middle decides to change it to a station that's like mellow music of some sort that's playing 24/7. And you pull up to the emergency room parking lot of I'm trying to remember which general hospital this is. Queens General Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
It's bustling, and as soon as he parks, I assume you hop out.
I hop out and I turn. And I go ahead and I pull out a cassette tape in a case. And I hand it over to Theo.
He takes it.
It is Brian Eno's Evening Star.
Why?
Everything you need to know about me is on that cassette.
Okay.
And if you can't figure it out, then maybe you shouldn't be in that position. Maybe you should find a job playing, I don't know, outfield for the Mets.
He just starts laughing. Fuck you. And just puts it like in the center console of the car. It like nods. Gives you like a honest smile.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, good luck. And I'll check in later.
Thank you.
And he drives away. And you're left in the parking lot. The entrance of the doors is there. I would like you to roll weird again.
Big money, never whammies. It's not bad. It's a 9.
It's a 9. Okay. As you're walking through to those doors, like tension's building up, nerves. You're not sure what's wrong with Emerald this time. And you walk instead of the clinical neon light waiting chairs of the waiting room of an emergency room. You instead walk onto a sidewalk. Lush green. Sun's up. Trees. A park of some sort. You look around. You're dressed differently. Comfortable. T-shirt, comfortable shorts. It's definitely not the time of year that it was before summer, early summer. And music is being played distantly. It's in the air, but like you're not near the source at all. You're at Bryant Park, which is in Midtown. And you feel a tug on your hand, a smaller hand in yours. Papa?
Hey, how you feeling?
I'm okay. I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
But I'm
You want me
happy
to pick you up?
Yeah. If it's okay, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead, pick Emerald up. Do the side carry.
Mm-hmm. You just always carry me.
It's not a bad thing. Sometimes people need to be carried.
I'm like,
If you're feeling tired, then you just ask.
I'm 6 and I should be able to walk on my own. Big girl, you know?
And you can. You do. You've been doing really well, but it's never bad to ask for help.
Okay. Thanks. And then you feel a hand on your shoulder behind you as like someone kind of brushes the back of your back before holding your shoulder and comes over to the other side of you. Hernan is there. Tan skin with stubble, like normally shaves and it's growing in. He's letting it grow out. Warm, light brown eyes. Wavy hair that's kind of pushed out of his face. He's wearing a beanie, which, why, but he's wearing a tank top with like a jumpsuit that has artfully placed paint stains on it. He's making it a fashion choice. And he has a smile. The jumper is like tied around his waist, like the top of it. The legs are as is. And he looks at you both and smiles, and you know that smile to be like a calm smile, but also a pained one. It's like, so, it sounds like it started already. Are we sure we want to do this? If she's that tired.
I don't know, Bug, you want to do this?
Yeah. I've been wanting to do this for months now.
We're going to keep you on our shoulders, though, okay?
Okay.
If you get uncomfortable, you get feeling sick, you let us know, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And if you let me know, we can get out of here, then maybe we can grab a pretzel or something. How about that?
That sounds good. That sounds real good. And she hugs you. And then, like, Hernan's hand grips on your shoulder reassuringly as y'all walk through the warm air, the breeze, the music getting closer.
I'm going to take sensitive.
Yes. Yeah, do it.
So the move sensitive, which is an advance of the empath move. So when you open up your brain to a local psychic environment, roll plus weird. Although you will find out something important, it's not necessarily going to relate to your current concerns and the mystery you're investigating right now. So I'm going to roll weird.
Do it.
Actually, I mean, fuck it, we ball, right? We're in this. What is my... I'm going to go ahead and use a luck point.
Do it. All right, so immediate 12. Yeah. Alrighty. 10 or more, you gain a definite impression, a vision, changeable aura, overhead thought, etc. about something here that is important. So you're walking, like, so there's a wide lawn, like a green lawn, like flush. People are lining up to see the concert at the end of that lawn. There's like a platform where people are setting up instruments and getting started with the first set. And there's like a walking path on the outside of that lawn. As you're walking, immediately, you don't get caught up in this memory anymore. You are cognate, like you're aware of what's going on, that this is, you were at the hospital. Theo just dropped you off. You walk through the doors. There's a jump here. So you know that, like, oh, I'm not just reminiscing about a moment that's beautiful but painful. I'm brought here for a reason. And you feel like this memory is a trap of some sort. Something laid out. Something stuck in your brain that was meant to trigger at a certain point. You're not sure what the trap is designed to do. But you know that you might be a bit more aware when it gets ready to be sprung, for sure.
Absolutely.
So you have full agency over yourself versus just following the thread of this memory to keep going.
Is my Walkman with me?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case.
So you're walking, and then, like, you have a moment of, like, clarity as you're walking. You might pause or maybe take a moment before you keep going. Before you take your position in front of the line of people that are, or like the crowd that's gathering. And then you feel Hernan grab your hand. The other one's holding M. And he's like leaning over and looking at her. I would like it if you could read a bad situation for me.
For sure.
You can add 2 to your roll because you use sensitive and you're aware that something's wrong.
Got it. You're so generous on that add 2. Because that brings it to a 10.
Good. Nice. All
yeah,
right.
with the +2 and my +1. Yeah.
You're good. You hold 3 for read a bad situation. You can ask me any of those questions. You can call them however you like.
Hell yeah, I can. Okay. Uh, okay. Are there any dangers I haven't noticed?
Yes. Directly next to you.
Okay, good. Uh, what's the okay? What's most vulnerable to me?
Your positioning. So as like you filled in,
Mm-hmm.
there are people filling in behind you, to the right of you, to the left of you. They feel
Mm-hmm.
very real. If you were to try to get away, you're going to bump into people. You're going to like, M is there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you might want to keep a hand on her, because even though this is a memory, she feels very solid and real to you. You don't want to get her hurt. If you
Yeah.
need to get away, you're going to bump into people, and you're going to have a child with you.
What's my best way out?
Confronting the problem immediately and talking to them. Catch them at their own game.
I'm gonna have M on my shoulders, doing the whole hands on the head and everything. I'm gonna turn directly to Hernan. Wouldn't you feel more comfortable in Harlem?
What do you mean, hun?
We can do this with you wearing a mask, or we can do this by showing yourself.
Showing myself. No, I would prefer to watch the show and experience your happiness right here.
I don't know if you know this, and you probably do because you're tapped into my mind. There's an emergency happening right now. And as much as I would like to live in this moment of bliss forever and ever, this bittersweet memory, I've got things I have to do.
Oh, talking about, and then turns to you, and it just seems like everyone around you freezes. The music stops, the air stops. It doesn't feel like you're in an open space. It feels like a contained space. Similar to where the Dollmaker is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you like to be in this blissful moment forever, or similar moments? If you could, would you like to?
It's not real, though.
It isn't, but it feels. And then her hand like grips you by the side of your head and smiles, and brushes a thumb under your eye, on your cheek. It feels real.
But it's not.
I can make it so that it doesn't feel that way. You don't remember that. You're only here because you woke up. It was a choice of yours that you did. You can just go back to sleep and be happy forever.
I have people that rely on me. And I can't just turn around and go back to sleep on them, because then I let them down. And then they feel bad. And they're wondering where I'm at and what I'm doing. And are they important enough? And they are.
He sighs. Deep. And it gets deeper and lower. And it's resounding. It vibrates through your chest into your ears. fine. Have you?
Give me something more tangible next time, and I might think about playing ball.
And in a second, you're walking through. You're back in the hospital. You don't remember the last 5 minutes, but you feel something was off just because you had the sensitivity on.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, I missed something. I feel like I skipped a moment. But you look at your watch. Yeah, only 4 or 5 minutes pass that you don't have a count of. And you turn, and you see Hernan, like, kind of briskly walking up to you. Like, hey, you okay? You were just kind of standing here.
Yeah. I wandered off. Sorry. Where is she?
She's in the room. Like, she has a room now. So, like, you can just, as, like, we're done in the waiting room. She just fainted, and I couldn't get her up, and I just drove her to the hospital. And they're checking her out now. So, yeah, let's go. You okay?
How are you doing?
Wow, okay. um, I don't know. I don't know.
That's okay.
She's so thin. Um, how are you?
Uh,
He grabs your hand and you both start walking towards the back as he asks that question.
work was work. But I'm here now.
That is one way of saying it. I don't think we're gonna get a donor in time. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Man, there's I know we read a lot of books on different spiritualities and cycle of life and everything. If I ever had to do something that wouldn't be seen as good, but quite bad, to make sure that she was okay, to make sure that you were okay, would you think less of me?
You're in like one of the hallways, the linoleum flooring, like brilliant against the neon lights ahead. Few paces from where you assume the room is, he stops, like kind of turns you to hand still in his. What are you talking about?
Just hypothetically, if I had to make a decision that could be bad for a certain amount of people, but it would mean that she would be okay, would you think less of me?
No, I wouldn't think less of you. I would be worried about you. Like, I probably would do something similar if it meant you were safe and she was safe. But this is hypothetical, right?
Yeah, yeah, hypothetical, purely.
He releases your hand and picks both of his hands and like cups the sides of your face. Hypothetical.
Lean into the hands. Hypothetical.
Okay. All right. Drops his hands. Like, kind of like wipes his hands on his pants because he's nervous. And then walks ahead and then to the room where M is. He opens the door. Um, and you've been to a room like this several times now. But it's a little different. When you had Emerald, when she became part of your lives, she was glowing. She had freckled face, green eyes, curly, like brown hair. Adorable. And the absolute sweetest. And your memory goes to that for a split second, but then you enter the room and you just see a shell of that child. Pale, you barely see the freckles. Those green eyes slowly turn to you from the bed. Barely there, detached a little bit. Not as bright. Green. No more hair. She was able to get through chemo, but the damage had kind of been done to her body, and she's just skinny. So much skinnier than she should be. Because she just needs a lot of work or upkeep at this point to get back to recovery, and the things that you need for her are just not there. Donors not coming in. Those things are swarming your head as you slowly walk to her bedside, and there's a chair there, and Hernan sits on the bed on the opposite side of the bed, as she looks to you, Carlisle.
Hey, Buck.
Hey, Papa.
Not feeling too great, are you?
No. I don't remember what happened.
That happens. I get like that too. I go someplace else.
Like with your music.
But yeah. You are you eating? Are you hungry? Anything like that? Thirsty? Anything?
I can't eat.
You want me to go talk to your doctor, or do you want me to stay right here?
Her little hand tries to reach for you, but she can't.
Immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, I'll make the effort to work.
And you do.
Lean forward.
Grab her hand, and Hernan kind of tries to keep it together. I'll go talk to her, doctor. I'll be right back. Stands up, and it looks very much like he's trying not to cry, or trying to be strong in this moment as he steps out. And her eyes are closed. She's still there. She's just probably fading into sleep a little bit. Those fingers are a little bit looser, but trying to stay present as you're sitting with her. And it's quiet. There's beeping in the distance. There's people walking up and down the hallway. And in a moment, it feels suddenly very quiet. The beeping goes away. The people talking amongst themselves and walking stop. The air is still. This feels familiar, but you're not sure why. What do you do?
She's still there, right? She's still holding on and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting up or moving or anything like that. Carlisle's gonna turn towards the door and look. Is it any different?
The door looks a little further than it was before. It feels like the room is a little distorted.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't really pay attention to the room Like, you were just kind of focused on him, so maybe it was just like, oh, you walked a little further than you thought you did. That's
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Uh, Carlisle's gonna slowly let go of her hand. And is gonna take the Walkman and put it in her hand and adjust the volume so it's not too loud. And it's just gonna put the headphones over her ears and press play. Um, and it's going to go stand up, walk towards the door with the intention to opening it.
Mm-hmm. So, you do that. You see a little smile appear on her face. But she still looks like she's tired or sleeping or not present.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the door, you reach for it, you open it.
Mm-hmm.
You open the door, and you knowingly enter into a space. It is just blackness. And there's that desk that you were at when you were interviewing the Dollmaker not that long ago. And there's someone sitting there. Hands crossed, fingers intertwined, sitting in the same position that you were before. And they're not you. It's distant as you're walking in the darkness to this solo light fixture.
Going to hold my hand out to the forward. Yeah, I'm going to hold my hand out forward too, so that expecting to hit glass.
No glass. You're expecting it for sure. No glass.
Mm-hmm.
And from the distance, you can hear a voice. You're expecting to hear that booming, vibrating voice. It's just a normal person's voice. Equal playing field. At least that's how I would operate. Are you going to just stand there?
Sit.
So you walk over, like not that long of a walk.
Mm-hmm.
You enter into the space where the light touches, and you sit down across from this person. And you see a masked person with deep green eyes, freckled face. Looks like you're getting kind of tipped off, kind of similarly to M, actually, a little bit in the face. But that's about it, those qualities. The rest is like square jaw, dark hair, black, wavy, dressed in a very old-timey suit, leaned back, legs crossed. From like their position of like focus, they lean back and regard you, and then like put a hand out for you to sit as you do. Hello, Carlisle.
3 guesses on who you are, and first 2 don't count.
Something like that.
What do you want?
To help you.
I told you before. Miss me with that unless it is something tangible.
Something tangible like saving your daughter. Would that be better?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be something more helpful? Something that won't reach the inevitable we talked about earlier?
I'm not going to help you escape or anything.
You don't have to do that.
Why don't you go ahead and lay out your terms and what you're offering, and then I'll assess and I'll make a counter offer, and then we can come together on an agreement.
You assume that you have a counteroffer to provide in a situation like this. I saw how you felt. I felt how you felt. This is pain. This is just nothing but agonizing pain to watch someone go through this. A child, no less. Anything you can do to make sure the pain is no longer there, for her to live her life the way she should live her life. That's what you want, is it not? What do bad things happen to good people, right?
Innocent people.
Innocent people. Let's tip the scales a little bit in the right direction then. I can give you the means to help her. It's a slim chance, but I can help to get the resources that she might need. I can give you a fraction of what I am to help. I'm not sure how much time you have, but it would be something.
And what do you want?
To live your life, to listen in the core, to appraise me when I come calling, of details that you have. Answer every one of my questions honestly, because I will know if you are lying. And then I'll try to help save your daughter. Can you do that for me?
That's all you want. Information.
Always.
To live in my brain.
Rent free. Some kind of rent.
And you think that Theo won't know?
Theo won't know. Unless you divulge that or he is suspicious of you for some reason.
No.
No,
I mean, he won't know.
he won't know. Then do we have an agreement of sorts, 𝚑𝚎𝚎𝚗𝚎?
Counteroffer.
Counteroffer. Like leans
You
forward.
do this for me. You do this for me. I do this for you. And you don't do shit like this anymore. Not while they're around. You keep them out of it.
What was it that you
You
were
deal
saying
solely with me.
I will deal solely with you then, but it just feels like you were talking a really big game earlier. This was a very quick turnaround.
It's a counteroffer.
It's a counteroffer.
I need guarantees that the people in my life will not be harmed with whatever you're planning. They're not playthings, they're people. Just like you once were.
Just like I was. I was a person, and then I got played several times. So what's the use of being human
What?
anymore?
Well, you told it to me. You did it to yourself.
Yes, eventually. Not at the start. I am what I am now because of me, but it started in a worse situation. I lost my family, and I never was able to get them back. Not the way I wanted. So, do we have a deal?
I help you, and you try to help me, with the only guarantee is that they will not be harmed, or used, or manipulated.
I will not harm your family, and I will try to help. You will do what I ask, without question.
Carlisle's going to extend a hand.
And they extend a hand, and they grip it tightly. And then you feel upon that shake, that one good shake, like, and you see it actually too. It feels like heat goes up your arms, and then you can see black veins go up those arms, the shoulders, and you just feel it settle in your chest and your core. It feels weird, and just a boost of power. That sensitivity you have seems to get larger, and more capabilities seem to be possible, but you don't know what that means or what that feeling, you can't even describe it. And then you blink, and you're back in that chair next to M. The sounds of the hospital come back into earshot. Walkman's still playing.
Can I use a move?
Oh, sure.
I want to use oops.
Thank you. Yes. Let me read it real quick. Oops. If you want to stumble across something important, tell the keeper you will find something important and useful, although not necessarily related to your immediate problems. Oops. I'm trying to find out what to put in this room that would help you, or is like just something in general. You feel in your head in general, it feels like, actually, I know what I'm going to give you. The glyphs that were in the containment center. You don't know a lot about the intricacies of magic, and you kind of start putting pieces together. It's like your brain is starting to rewire what those glyphs mean. Before you're like, oh, just magic jumble. Now you're like, oh, I can actually understand what all those things are, and they make sense, and all this other stuff. Get the impression that what the Dollmaker did to you the glyphs did not cover. So, like, the glyphs were not housing whatever was able to do this conversation you're able to have, this deal you're able to make, it that you remember. First of all, there was no safeguard or ward against this specific thing, even though there was a lot of glyphs in place. That meant there was more capabilities being housed or held back that could have been more harmful, more detrimental. What he did, and now you know, is that he was able to invade and plant a seed in your mind of him. And he was able to extend his power to you as an offer. If you didn't agree, it would have hurt you. And it would have kept hurting you unless you sought help for it. It's an inkling. It's just a little pinprick of eldritch magic. So you're able to like gather all that information as your analytical brain processes that. Is there anything else you want to do?
That's it.
Okay. So you're like having a revelation in your chair, and Em is still sleeping, breathing lightly. The door opens, and Hernan enters. The doctor isn't there. He just looks a little confused. He's like, and then closes the door behind him. I just had a very weird interaction. Um, some lady uh said that she knows where like a way to help M, and she got me contact information for a possible donor list that might be a bit more exclusive. It's worth a shot, but like she just kind of came out of nowhere and gave me this card.
I'll take the card.
You take the card. There's just a letter on the front that says JC and a phone number,
Mm-hmm.
as well as like a scribbled phone number, um,
Mm-hmm.
of like exclusive donor list, whatever, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then just notations of how to get prioritization, perhaps maybe. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, there's that. You also, at that same exact moment of getting this card, your brain starts flooding in with knowledge, magic knowledges of rejuvenation, ways to replenish, ways to uh, rapidly recover from a deteriorated state, stuff like this. You've never done magic before, but you are a part of the core. You have access to ways to get the materials you need, the resources you need to put that together and do it on your own. They're not big magics where like you need to like reserve a room to do something. It's things that you can do that just are normal stimulations. And it's like
I
a
think
reminder.
there's that flighting. Yeah, I think there's that flighting moment of being like, that's right. And they've been holding out on me. And then Carlisle pushes it way
Mm-hmm.
down.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still that moment of like, the core could have helped this entire time. And they've been holding out on me. And then just pushes it down.
They could have helped. They could have presented that information for you. You would have had to go seek it out, and they probably would have regulated it for you. In terms of like, we would advise you don't use magics like this for yourself anyway. It's disproportionate. It's that whole like
Mm-hmm.
life has to go on kind of situation. Similar to like, you can't bring people back from the dead. You can't save someone from uh, illness this severe kind of situation. So they probably would have advised that you not do that or not give it to you. The fact that like there are some resources that will line up with the knowledge that just entered your brain, which is a little bit more advanced, things that the core would not advise you do at all. But you know for a fact that they would work. So that frustration that you had to go elsewhere, make a pact with an entity that you don't know terribly much about, to get that frustrates you. There's complicated feelings there. Um, and then when you push it down, there's a moment, maybe a flash over your face of frustration before you calm down. And Hernan clocks it, but like it's like so we might have something. It is something, and we can do something, right? Like that's hope. That's what hope is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
It's something.
it's something. Well, we're gonna stay here for a little bit. I'm gonna get some coffee, some dinner, um, and hopefully we can bring her home tonight. If not, then like we're taking shifts, um, watching
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be
I'll
okay. Everything's gonna be okay, right?
yeah. Yeah. Everything's gonna be fine. I'll uh I'll stay with her. You go ahead and get coffee and relax. Um, maybe figure out dinner.
Yeah.
We'll just
Small
be here.
smile. Smile, smile. And then he walks out. Is there anything else you wanted to do here?
Just gonna like sit and stare at that card for like the entire time, just like with a hand on her, but just stare at that card. And it's like it's an oscillating shift between like joy and like things are working out to like anger at like himself, but
Mm-hmm.
also like just the situation, everything, and then fear.
Yeah. Those are all really valid and like feelings in this moment. And then the scene fades away as you're processing. And we cut to Theo in his car. He's driving. Unsettling feeling in the pit of their stomach as they're looking at their center console where they put the tape that you gave them. And he's gonna drive to Brooklyn, like a row of brownstones, and pulls up and parks in front of one particular one. That's at the corner. It looks, well, I'm not gonna say lived in. It looks pristine in comparison to the rest of them. There's a garden to the side of it, a fire escape on the side of it that goes to like all the way up to the third floor. He leaves the cassette tape and parks and then gets out. And as he looks up, he sees a woman standing there with dark skin and curly black hair put into a tight bun, sharp, dark eyes. She looks like she's in her late 20s, early 30s, dressed professionally. And she greets him with a smile. He looks surprised as he walks up to she's like at the top of the stairs. He's at the bottom of the stoop stairs. He's like, "Hi, Gloria, why are you here? Everything okay?" And she says, like, "I don't know. I am a little concerned at the moment in regards to, I guess, your status as Slayer. I don't think that you're safe there anymore. You divulged your nature to somebody." And he gives a look like, I just had this conversation. Like, how did you know that? "We're trying to protect you. You know what happens when someone finds out what you are? People will come find you and they will pick you apart and take you for everything you have. I can't protect you if you keep doing stuff like this and trusting people." And he shakes his head. "I know, I'm sorry. I won't do that again. But you didn't come all this way for that, right? Like to shake your finger at me." She shakes her head. "I want to talk about the future with you in terms of what might be happening and who I might be bringing into this world one day. And this future that I see isn't good. And I want to lay some plans down with you about it." He looks terrified. Like, "The fuck you mean?" Like, essentially, like, yeah, okay. I could put on tea. And we'll talk. He rushes up the stairs and opens the door. Lets her in. Looks out behind her before the door closes. And the camera's cut to black. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this special lore episode of Dollmaker Interview. I have been your keeper, Ambrose, she, they, and This has been
Wes Franks from
Yay.
Carrying Comfort Studios. My pronouns are they, he. I played Carlisle Haynes. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I apologize to the other Arcane Core members. You're welcome. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, that's great for me. Probably not for them. Story
Mm-hmm.
wise, magnificent. But yes, thank you all for tuning in for this wonderful episode. And we will be seeing you. See you on the other side, and take care.